Welcome everybody to our day 3 in our 12 days of sacred self, a daily live stream for those of us who are interested in the spiritual realms, the discovery of higher dimensions within yourself, or who are interested in their inner experience of their higher self. My name is Jona Bryndis, and I am your guide through these different realms. Every day we are contemplating different aspects of our perception and tune in via an energy alignment for a few minutes so that we can learn how to build a bridge between the material ego version of ourselves and the spiritual self that lives in us. Now, in day 1, we made an important shift into understanding ourselves as a spirit being first and foremost. So not a body with a soul, but a soul that is having a physical 3D experience. And we learned that this connection with the spirit being in us, which we often call higher self, is always there. And that deep down we all long for this deeper connection, but that we often forget to tune into. Yesterday, as we were taking this a step further, we learned that when our thoughts are overtaken by our ego perception, which is the kind that links us to the material only, that our spiritual perception disappears. It becomes inaccessible for us. And thanks to your guys' sharing and contribution here, we could, via your own inner experience, find ways how to bridge that, how to regroup, reset. Yeah, we learned that it's a normal part of our human condition, that when our mind takes over, that it will kind of block our spiritual awareness. And when we become aware of this, so when our consciousness, the higher pay grade to our thinking, emoting, and sensing, our mind, our emotion, and our body, when that kicks back in, then we have access to it. So yesterday we learned that perception is merely a matter of what we tune into. And the dilemma is that we're not always aware of what we're tuned into. So this is part of our human condition, that we are dominated by our survival instincts, by our conditioning, by what comes in through our brain, which is all linked to the material. But that we, in fact, actually have a higher perception in us. We call this, sort of just as a proxy word here, consciousness. And we're now beginning to learn that there are even different layers or levels of consciousness that all come with a different way of perceiving things. So yesterday, we learned that first and foremost, that we can switch, that we can tune into our true self, that we can even tune into something that we called a guardian angel, a first spiritual hierarchy that is still linked to us. So for some of us, our true self functions almost like a guardian angel. It speaks to us in empowering and supporting and loving words. Whereas our ego tends to speak to us in a demeaning or sometimes even bashing, but very judgmental way. And those were sort of the first distinctions, the first elements of discernment that we could learn about yesterday. That it really depends on our thinking, like how we allow ourselves to think, that then determines our perception. And I said yesterday that there are many different levels of perception, because with each level of consciousness, we can access different layers of this, consciousness field that we are all in. And the easiest one to access for us, because it's the closest, is through fostering the connection with our true self. And that is one that leads us to our etheric perception. And there we can also make contact with the angel realm, that is directly linked to, on one hand, the spiritual, and on the other hand, your personal life experience through your life force. So many energy healers or spiritual teachers talk about the auric field, that is sort of the energy that surrounds you. And when you study this with spiritual sciences, when you study this through your inner experience, these two elements are needed for a full spiritual initiation into the spirit realm. When you study this, you find out that the auric field, just like these different layers of consciousness or perception, are linked to different spiritual hierarchies. They're linked to different, radio stations, different frequencies that are still in or linked to, your being. Today, on day 3, I want to explore with you the realm of your discernment on a feeling level. So I mentioned that our ego is limited to our 5 senses, to our body, emotion, and what we think about it. Our spiritual perception is not limited to this. Yesterday we learned that, spirit beings don't have passports or citizenships or even genders for that matter. There is a part in us that translates these messages, the guidance that we personally receive from the spirit realm, and that is what we call the true self. But there is also messages that come in for the collective, and we differentiate between smaller collectives, which is, for example, your family, your friends, the people in your direct environment, that are directly connected with you personally. Then maybe your neighborhood or your village, sort of as a field, with which in the perception of people connects via their collective unconscious. And then we can see another layer, and that's maybe your national field, like all Americans, all Canadians, all Australians. of Danish people, yeah, that form a field of perception. Yeah, like how does a person from Australia see Christmas? How does a person from Canada see or understand Christmas? And then you can go even a step further. You can say, okay, beyond nations, nationalities, tribes, we have, the whole human collective as a field. Those are these energies that I often report about, the collective field, the collective human field, the culmination of all our, fields together, all the national fields together, all our sort of etheric fields and our feelings and sentiments taken together. And this is the subject of this next spiritual realm that I would like to discuss with you. It has to do with our sentiment. It has to do with how we see ourselves in context with, let's say, our tribe or our nation or the human collective all together. How we see our own part in this and which part of our perception relates to this. So on a practical level, many of you are feeling an emptiness of some sorts, an emptiness in regard to meaning and purpose, or an emptiness in regard to belonging, like a deeper belonging that we desire. Not just the kind that, comes through citizenship or, yes, I live in this city or this area, but the kind of belonging that makes us feel that we are actually connecting with others. Who of you is familiar with this desire to wanting to connect more deeply with others? Not specific. It's not like, the country club or the church group or anything like this. It's more so, I see all your hearts. It's beautiful. This is very timely. This kind of desire, this kind of impulse to feel something in your soul when you commune with other people, and you feel community with other people. This is the realm of the higher power that reminds us that we are indeed here for a greater purpose, that we are indeed here to have an impact on one another, that we are indeed here to learn how to individuate ourselves on one hand, how to become aware of our own soul self and start acting accordingly, start becoming a little more responsible. And on the other hand, learning how to interact with our world, with other humans, to collaborate and to learn that individuation doesn't mean individualism. It doesn't mean that we have to separate ourselves from others. On the contrary, on this level of consciousness, we understand that community, that contribution, that helping one another, that building something together is much more powerful than egoism and selfishness. And the fact that you are feeling this impulse, the fact that I can even articulate that, is an impulse that comes in from a higher realm, guys. Yeah, so for the last 500 years, it was all about fighting for your rights and, trying to get justice and making sure that everybody accepts you as this individual that you are. And everybody wants to have their own house and their own car and their own bread baking machine and their own, I don't know. You know what I mean? And this is now shifting. We're recognizing that, wait, we're kind of in this together. There are some things that need to be sorted out, and it can only be sorted out together and not just solved. Yeah, talking earth changes, talking politics, talking health, financial issues, and so forth. No, they can also be bettered. There's a betterment, there's an evolution possible if we can work this out together. So can you feel this? There is this sense, it's a sentiment, it's a feeling of purpose and meaning that comes in through this communal impulse. This is an impulse that comes out of the realm of archangels. Yeah, so the impulse, to become more spiritual, to learn to discern things for ourselves, for our own journey, to remember our mission. That impulse and the communication here, the back and forth between the material and the spiritual, happens on the level of angels. I was only referring to angels as your guardian angel yesterday to build a bridge for you, because I know many of you already have a good reference feeling for your true self, how it speaks to you and how it feels when you're connected with it. So now it's maybe a little easier for you to make this transition, to think of that as the angel realm, without necessarily going into this fantastical or transfigured version of angels with wings and so forth. It's okay to see wings and work with them and all that, but I don't want to distract you here. I'm not having an angel course here, okay? I'm trying to show you how all these things that we use in our daily language, some more, some less, actually have a realistic meaning to them. They can be observed. So with training and the necessary spiritual initiation, which is something that I teach you at transCODES, you will begin to see this. You will begin to have access to these realms and will say, like me, I was very cynical about some of these spirit beings and all that people would, channel and everything. And you might come to the place where you're like, oh, okay, so angels do exist. Interesting. Oh, archangels do exist, just not the way we think they are, like this sort of round halo around their head and, I don't know, those robes with gems on it and stuff. No, that's more sort of the medieval depiction of it. But some of these people that wrote about those realms, they have seen it, because you can observe this yourself. Yes, you can. And this is my life's work, is to help people to have this inner experience of these realms. And obviously, when we listen to the alignment here in a few moments, you're not gonna automatically talk to archangels just because I say so. Yeah. So this requires quite a little bit of training. Some of you have an intuitive connection with this higher power realm. Some of you may have gotten guidance from there, even as a child, perhaps. Yeah, clear directions. So the archangel realm, that level of perception, connects us with our feeling soul. With our feeling soul, yeah? Think of this belonging. Think of Christmas as a frequency. Think of Christmas as a feeling. On the calibrated levels of consciousness by Dr. Hawkins, Christmas, not the religious purpose behind it, but what it does to people, calibrates at 535. That's extremely high, guys. There's only a tiny, tiny percentage of people that ever can operate on that level that requires spiritual initiation. But see, the beauty is that through the archangels, yeah, these cosmic forces, we receive the impulse to tune into this at a certain time of the year, regardless of whether we're northern or southern hemisphere. Isn't this interesting? And yes, of course, there's commercialism and there's all the negative sides of, the Coca-Cola, Santa Claus and all this. I don't want to go there. That's not the point. We're talking energies. We're talking feelings here. And all I'm seeing is families baking cookies together, people coming together, sharing a meal, enjoying their company, people contributing, helping others who may not have that enough money or aren't as blessed as them. I see people wanting to share. I see people wanting to come together. I see people that are willing, to spend these days in what we call the holiday spirit. And that's an impulse that comes in through the archangel realm, guys. Yeah? We call this higher power, or here at transCODES, I was referring to this with my energy alignments in these last months. Yeah, the cosmic heart. Yeah. It is something that operates on this communal level. Yeah, we can also attribute the folk soul to the archangels, yeah, like the traditions with which a community agrees to live their experiences. And with this, and this is quite important here, especially if we move further in these next days. With it, it's also our language that comes to us through these archangel realms, through the cosmic heart. We're at a point in time here in this human evolution where our language is so refined and so highly developed, and mostly everybody is able to access language and read and write it, type it, and with the help of technology, even though technology does diminish some of the spiritual feeling, even us communicating through Skype right now diminishes some of the frequency. But it comes to us, in all different ways, and is accessible for almost everyone. This is a very powerful impulse. We are now able to articulate. We're now able to come together from all over the world, like we do here right now, and share our feelings, our sentiments. So with all the dark and desperate and doomish and gloomish stuff out there, guys, you also need to understand that there are much more powerful forces at work than we can imagine. It's way beyond our ego pay grade. And we already figured this out yesterday. Even our true self is beyond ego pay grade. Now we're talking something that affects an entire folk soul, an entire generation, if you will. So we are at the cusp of our consciousness soul and our feeling soul to grow together, to begin to work together. It's huge, guys, in the evolution of human consciousness. And this doesn't come with adversity, and that's the part that our ego gets stuck on. All right, so the confrontation with untruth, the confrontation with unfreedom, and the confrontation with unlove are extremely important for us to refine this, to even get to this place. That we consider tuning into higher power, that we consider letting go of ego control, that we consider higher guidance. Do you see this? But on this level, on the level of our feeling soul, it's really about becoming aware of our own part, and that's our own responsibility, our own conscious choice. This doesn't happen like in the fairy tales, that the fairy godmother comes and says, poof, and now you are this higher magical being. No, we have to work for this. We have to educate ourselves. We have to go into this inner experience to form what I called the inner lexicon yesterday. We have to learn to navigate these higher spiritual realms that are accessible for us. The first time you exit your ego mind and tune into your spiritual etheric brain, you are navigating blind, guys. It's like waking up to a nightmare, because these realms, they are so vast and higher in dimensions that we don't know yet how to navigate it. The best way to describe what it's like to navigate the etheric is probably something that you experience in your dreams, in your nightmares, perhaps, or if some of you had experience of altered states of consciousness, that's what it's like. And if you don't know what you're dealing with, you're like a sitting duck. So when we tune in to this next alignment that attunes our consciousness to our feeling soul, the impulse that comes in through the archangel realm, I want you guys to not go into fantasy with this. I want you guys to really, really focus on your inner sentiment, your life view, how you feel about other people, the world out there, and how you can maybe shift this more consciously toward a positive attitude toward others, even though you can observe the high and the lower expressions, the dark and the light aspects of humans. But to see through this and recognize that ultimately each and every one of these people out there are souls. But everybody can make choices, and that is the part that we need to focus on. What are the choices that I'm making? How am I showing up with other people? How am I collaborating, contributing, communing, and even allowing this deeper connection with other humans? And it's okay if you feel that you can't connect with everybody. It's okay if you feel that you haven't really found your tribe yet. It's okay if you feel that you're still looking for a type of community or the type of tribe, that speaks to you. But just because you haven't found this kind of community yet, don't demonize or ostracize or separate people out there that don't have that consciousness yet. It's like, I heard somebody compare this with muggles, in the Harry Potter world, or normies, or people who are not yet awakened to these realms of consciousness. They're just not awakened to it yet. And I can promise you that these next 2 years, 2024 and 2025, are the years of collective awakening, guys. I've been writing about it and talking about it for the last 15 years. It is now. These people are going to wake up, all of them. And you are the ones that have been studying this, that have been working on your inner lexicon, on your navigation, on your GPS, on your articulation, on your sharing, on your opening your heart for others. You're the way showers. So let's work this. Let's become more conscious of this without going into megalomania with this. To just recognize that you have been following an impulse that came to you through the cosmic heart, an angelic, even higher ranking angelic, archangel realm, reminding you that part of not just your personal mission, but the overall purpose of humanity and the reason why you were born into the collective that you were born into, the country, the nation, the tribe, was to operate from throughout that realm and to become a little more aware of your sentiments toward your fellow tribesmen and tribeswomen, but also the tribesmen and tribeswomen of other tribes. You see, it also shows you the need to overcome things like racism or tribalism altogether. nationalism, those are outcroppings of an unconscious feeling soul. And that is what is going to happen in these next 2 years. So let's practice this together.
I am one with my true self, the part in me that is unchanging, eternal, and infinite, the messenger of divine consciousness and true spiritual thinking. I recognize the presence of higher power expressing through the promptings of my true self. It comes to me as sacred life force and divine love, and reminds me of higher power in me, even if I have become unconscious and asleep. I herewith dedicate this sacred self moment to honor the powers that protect and guide me, and that help me to feel this higher power as grace in my heart at all times. I honor the higher power that helps me to clear all negative influences from any source within and around me and my family and home, that cleanses me and gives me the courage and strength for the next phase of my life. Guide me along my highest path of greatest good and show me the way. I honor the higher power of healing to heal me on all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and etherically, throughout all time frames and dimensions. Return my body, soul, and spirit to wholeness and balance. I honor the higher power of perception that brings me messages, guidance, hope, and inspirations that are perfect for me right now, in perfect ways, so that I will have all the loving guidance that I need right now. I honor the higher power of beauty and joy to lift my spirits and that of others, and bring me joy, happiness, love, laughter, lightness of the heart, and love for life. I further honor the higher power of consciousness to purify my spirit and my life, and allow me to be a pure channel of divine love and thus service for others. Bless my life in the highest and most appropriate ways. I honor the power of inner peace to heal, harmonize, and bless all the relationships in my life, so that I may spread greater harmony, love, and light upon the earth wherever I go. And lastly, I honor the higher power of abundance to bring me all that I need for this journey through life, and shower me with appropriate abundance and wealth in all areas of my life, so that I may serve fully, and so that I can express divine light in me in this world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Part of attuning to these higher spiritual realms is also learning to discern. Yeah, you need to learn to discern the fantastical, the projections that we put in there. And a way to do this, and this was what today's talk here, or contemplation, was about, is to go through your feeling, through your inner sentiment. Who wants to share what came forward with them during these few minutes on a feeling level? And your body can be involved in this. Yesterday we had a beautiful opportunity to talk about our energy centers and how they relate to some of our inner feelings. What came forward for you here during these few minutes?
Yeah, hi, Sanette.
Hi, Anita.
I saw very open spaces, like with very vast open spaces.
Okay.
And I saw actually saw angels, like motivating to go out in the open space. And then the color blue came forward. Some blue, a lot of blue colors.
These, what you called angels, what did they look like for you? How did you know they were angels?
Because of the wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you locate them? Can you tell me where you saw them?
In front of me.
In front of you?
Yeah.
More like this way or that way? Left or right?
They were left. Mm-hmm. In front of me, left.
Mm-hmm. Blue?
And then, yeah, there were blue colors. And then I saw myself being in nature. That was what came forward for me.
Okay. And you said this
very, very comforting to be in nature. But I love it.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, because it's the feeling, it's the sentiment that we want to receive. So you said something in the beginning. You said something like empowering.
No, I said open space. Yeah, go out into.
But these angels are motivating. I think you said.
Yeah. Yes.
Motivating, and then you said you stepped into nature and you felt comfort.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing, Anita. I know this takes a lot of courage, guys, so don't be shy. This is literally the next step of our development, to learn to talk about these things openly. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
That comfort from nature is the same. This real want to be out in nature and among people, among people thinking the same thing, and we're all on the same path. Like you sort of working. I feel like working with the land, working with animals. At whatever level, you know.
Did you see congregations of people in nature?
Not so much. Maybe it's like everybody out in a field on their own row, if you know what I mean. Everybody working in unison, but not clumped together. Everyone doing their own thing, but then, do the work first and then the celebration, if that makes sense.
And when I say celebration, I mean having tea or something.
Yeah, I get it.
So sort of working the land, and not struggle. That this is towards a common purpose, a common goal, and a great feeling of contentedness and inner, just knowing everyone knowing who they are. A real draw outdoors, I have to say, huge.
For this particular tune-up here, let me know where you guys are from. If you believe it, yes, you're coming from Ireland. You come from Ireland, Emer?
Yeah.
And for this particular tune-up here, it's relevant because we're tuning into this part, and if you believe it or not, there's sort of different rooms in this realm, and the door we enter these realms through is our tribal one. Yeah, our tribal understanding. I think it was very beautiful how you described this. And there's no judgment with it. It's just important to note this. So, Annette, you shared first. What tribe are you from?
I'm from Denmark.
Denmark, so that's the Northern European, the Scandinavian tribe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Emer. It's very beautiful. More.
Hi, Jona. It's Julianne from Australia.
Hi,
and Julianne. I saw something very similar. I saw fields and people. I just saw groups of people, and I saw beautiful golden wheat crop just towards the end. And to me, that just signifies like bounty, like harvest. And at the beginning, it was beautiful to feel grace, like in the invocation, in the meditation, it was talking about grace, about just understanding that we can just let everything go to grace. Anything that we think or feel that's not in alignment to that, I could just feel it just releasing, and it didn't even matter anymore. The small thoughts or the small beliefs, it's like they all just whooshed away.
That's cool. It's cool that you call your ego the small thoughts and the small beliefs. That's how it is. They're still there, and they're not all wrong, but they're small.
They help to guide us a little bit there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling was also, I got this feeling of this beautiful feeling of Christmas, like you said. It's the energy of it, it's the love of it, and that just felt like just expanding and growing in my heart. And then I thought, you know what, this is over it was more of a feeling, 2,000 years of Christmas, of holding this energy on the planet. So imagine that there's 2,000 years of Christmases at this time. It's something that came, I'm like,
it's even older. Christmas is way older than
and way Jesus. Because then because it was the solstice, right? So thousands of years before then, because this time was always celebrated, and I was just in awe in this moment of like feeling that this time, thousands of years of people feeling this feeling is such a blessing. I'm like, oh wow. I saw that
the vastness.
The vastness.
You just described the vastness of the feeling.
And the bounty at the end, at this bounty. Now culminating now into the harvest and the bounty. So very beautiful.
I wrote down fields of gold.
Fields
of gold. So that's exactly what you just described. Mm-hmm.
And I could feel it, the beauty with all of us together, doing the meditation together, was really wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Another level of this. Emer, couldn't you turn off your microphone if you don't mind? another level of this, if you think of the smallest tribe, what's the smallest tribe that one can form here in this earthly plane? Relationship. Yeah. Romantic relationship. Yeah, so as we're tuning into these realms, we're also moving forward in the month, and this is the month of March. Yeah, there's some stuff there, but there is the solution already painted on the wall. So let's not forget that our personal love relationship is also part of that. It's also part of that realm. It is first and foremost something that we as individuals experience, but then there is a level to our communion with a loved one, that has a spiritual meaning. The spiritual marriage. Those of you who are in the Grace Training Club, for example, we are tuning into this Heroes Karmas today. The spiritual marriage. It's a spiritual process in which we allow ourselves to overcome the duality of me and you, while maintaining our individuated self. Big stuff, guys. And I'm sure you could go on and on now, because there is things unfolding in you. I'm seeing this just now. By the way, you're more than invited to keep your videos on, because when we tune into this, it's so beautiful to see this in other people's faces, how their energy changes. So maybe for tomorrow, be prepared, turn on your videos. We're back here at 12 p.m. Eastern US time. Day 4 of the Daily Sacred Self, tuning into even higher perspectives. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your willingness to go there with me, without having all these judgments and preoccupations, and just allowing this exploration to happen via your own inner experience. Nobody can tell you what it feels like in you. That is your job. But you cannot be connected with it if you cannot own your own inner experience. And that relates back to the true self. That relates back to you being truthful and integrous with yourself. And loving with yourself. Because that replicates into the next level, which is the community, the friends, the people, the marriage, the relationship. Got that? So in the Love Integrity course starting January 6th, that's only like less than 2 weeks. It's 3.5 months training this. And you will find that when it comes to relationships, guys, the energetics of relationships, but also the expressions of relationships on a higher vibratory level, it's mostly about communication. And why is that? Because that's the seat of our feelings. So most relationships don't work out because we are not connecting with our feelings. Yeah, so this is Love Integrity. If you see this on my website, check it out and ask questions if you have any. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I'm wishing you a wonderful transition into the 24th. So for some of you in Australia, this is almost Christmas Eve already. Yeah, enjoy 5:35. Now you know what these numbers mean. Yeah, go Google this. Google Hawkins levels of consciousness. We go to my YouTube channel. I have like at least 100 videos about consciousness levels and where I explain this. Love you guys. Stay conscious. Bye-bye.